Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're gonna use Ableton Drift and we're gonna create from scratch a with techno key that sounds like this. Okay, so we're gonna create a new MIDI track and load Ableton Drift, and I'm gonna grab the MIDI as well there up. So I'll let you check the melody if you want. But today we're gonna focus more on the sound design. So first thing, we're gonna crank up the oscillator 1, so it's gonna drive the filter, and then we're gonna select this waveform. I like this waveform because when you bring the shape all the way up, it kind of sounds a little bit like a Moog. So we're gonna go until there. This we don't need, we can reset it. Now here's where it's gonna start the weirdness. We're gonna use oscillator 2. So this creates a nice detune effect, which creates this kind of weirdness. And we're gonna add a bit of noise as well. Now before to add even more weirdness, we're gonna focus on the filter and the envelope. So it's kind of a plucky sound, so we're gonna bring down the filter. We're gonna use a low pass filter 24 dB. So we're gonna need the type 2, we're gonna bring down. We can put the key following, so like this. The higher the note, the higher the filter is gonna go. And we're gonna modulate it with envelope 1. So more like positively, we want something a bit more plucky. Okay, and yeah, the idea is to have something plucky, so no sustain. When you press a note, it's playing a very short sound. So then it's the GK and the release who's gonna define the length of the sound. I'm gonna group it, and we're gonna already map this to macro 3. It's gonna be our kind of GK. So something very plucky. Something very long. We can obviously modulate this along the track. It can be really nice. We just need actually this macro. And I forgot, we need to map the filter to macro 1 and the filter envelope to macro 2. Now we can just rename everything. So we're gonna put as well in mono. And the great thing with this mono parameter here just below is gonna add some harmonics, so it's great. And Drift is gonna add this kind of analog detuning of everything. And both of these, we're gonna map them as well to macro 4 and 5. Okay, now there is two things gonna add some weird pitch detune. There is, first we're gonna modulate the pitch with the key here. So what it's gonna do is gonna do some kind of micro tuning, because basically the keyboard, instead of be like equal temperament and every note is gonna be the perfect pitch like we all know, it's gonna kind of slightly shift everything depending if you go positively or negatively. So it's gonna create a nice, see, your sound is completely getting out of tune and weird, but if you apply this a little bit more gently, it's nicer. So this compared to, you see, it's subtle, but it's nicer. Now the other thing we can do is to apply a kind of a vibrato with the LFO. So we're gonna put 5%. So the rate is usually around 8 Hz for kind of vibrato effect. And you can hear there is a little bit too much, so we're gonna reduce the amount. Again, subtle, but all of this little subtle detune effect or pitch weird modulation really adds some character to the sound. Okay, to even add more weirdness, we're gonna use a shifter. And the thing you can do with shifter is you can obviously pitch your sound slightly differently. So it's slightly detuned. But interesting things now is to crank down the dry wet amount, because this way you're gonna have a mix of the signal at your original pitch and a bit of the signal as well at 9 semitone detune. And again, it's gonna add some detune and some weirdness. So yeah.
Now
we can go even further and kind of modulate a little bit the pitch as well with LFO. Okay, cool. Now we're gonna use a vocoder, but not really like as a vocoder effect. I made this track. It's basically inspired by another guy who used vocoder in the kind of a weird way. Kind of enhance the scent, make it a little bit more sharper, a bit more modern, I would say. And okay, we need to change this obviously. Maybe bring the sensitivity up. We're gonna change the range and the bandwidth as well. We're gonna go to here slightly. Now what's gonna really affect the sound is the depth and formant, so then you can just tweak until you find something you like. But let's see how it affect the sound nicely. One thing you can do, crank up the volume a little because we was losing a little bit of signal. Now we're gonna add a bit of distortion. So two types. So first we're gonna use amp just to kind of really add this nice top to the sound. So just put it sure in dual. Just enhance a little bit. Now we're gonna use saturator to put the sound a bit more in the face and to kind of gain in loudness. So we're gonna put it in a major curve. Now we need a bit of spatial effect like such as delay and reverb. So we're gonna start with echo and we're gonna create a kind of a dub delay. So for that, we're gonna put this in 16 and this one more at 5. Yeah, I need to filter the delay. Then we're gonna add a bit of reverb. Feedback. Maybe it's like. And then we're just gonna add a classic reverb. You already have pretty much a lot of reverb. And we're gonna have both dry wet amount of delay and the reverb to the same macro. So like this, if you wanna shut down the effect and add your own effect, you can do so. Finally, two things: you can add an EQ to kind of reshape a little bit the sound. Bit. And then finally I'm gonna add drum bass as kind of overall processing. Reduce the input. Crunch, I like to use crunch because it's gonna add some mid-range the track, some mid-high, and then we can use the trend and negatively to kind of cut the tail of the reverb and everything. That's it. Just renaming our FX amount here. Put the same color and yeah. Alright, hope you like this video. Hope you learned a few tricks here and there. You can grab this preset for free. I will put the link in the description. This preset is part of my Ableton Dirft Techno Bank. If you want to grab it, it's a great way to support me. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.